Does this scene look familiar to you? Do you see the dangers that can occur in or around school bus loading zones? School bus loading zones are one of the busiest places for a school bus. Every morning and afternoon, buses are arriving and leaving. Students are walking between buses. Parents are dropping off or picking up their child. And often it may look like total chaos. So how can you be certain that your bus is safe to leave the loading zone amongst all this confusion? What can you take from your training to help identify students or bystanders who may be in harm's way? In this video, we want to help answer some of these tough questions. We will freeze time and take a single moment in a school bus loading zone and demonstrate what can occur around your school bus at any given moment. In addition, we will show proper safety techniques and practices. We will also explain how to incorporate the tools that a school bus can provide to assist the driver when students are putting themselves at risk. We will constantly point out the necessary steps bus drivers must consider when these dangerous situations arise. It is 2 in the afternoon when the school bell rings. Students leave their classrooms and rush to their buses to get to their seats. The driver's bus is loaded with students. And with the final student loading the bus and heading to her seat, okay, freeze. Before we go any further, let's take a look at what is around the bus right now that the bus driver can't see. First, we run into 2 students crossing in front of the bus. Then we find a student standing in the parking lot looking for her bus. As we move along, notice this student waving out of the window. At the rear of the bus, a student is kneeling down to tie his shoe. And as we wrap back around, we find a student handing a note to a friend through the window. Now, let's see what tools the bus can provide to the driver to help identify the students around the bus. Notice the students walking right in front of the bus. They are unaware that they're in a very dangerous area. Obviously, if a bus driver starts driving without checking their mirrors, devastating consequences could ensue. Let's look at what tools can be utilized in assisting the bus driver to identify the students. In this example, the driver uses the cross-view mirror as a tool to help identify the students crossing in front of the bus. This brings up another good point. Make sure your mirrors are always properly adjusted. A properly adjusted mirror allows the driver to identify what is going on around the school bus. And of course, since the driver is able to identify the students clearly in the cross-view mirror, the driver will not proceed until the front of the bus is clear of all students. Let's move on. This student is looking for her bus, but she is not close enough to the bus for the driver to identify her in any of her mirrors. So, what is the issue here? As you can see from the bus driver's perspective, the driver can't see the student standing in the road. The left flat mirror has a blind spot in it, and that's the area where the student is walking. What can the driver do to identify the student? In this instance, the bus driver can use the rock and roll method to identify the student in the blind spot. If the driver doesn't rotate her body, she will not be able to see the area where the student is located. It is essential for the driver to use every available safety technique. By employing the rock and roll method, the driver will be able to widen her field of view around the bus. Notice how the driver moves her body from side to side in order to see around the blind spot in the mirror. As we move along, we find a student leaning out of the window to try and get the attention of a passing friend. Although the student knows she is not supposed to be doing this, it is ultimately up to you, the bus driver, to quickly identify students and address situations like these immediately. The bus driver identifies the student through numerous mirrors around the bus. In this example, the left flat mirror, the left convex mirror, and the rear view mirror are the tools the driver uses to identify the student.
Where are you going?
Cassia, stay inside the bus. You know that's not safe.
What's your problem? I don't know what you got in trouble.
Make no exceptions. If students are putting themselves in danger, don't hesitate. Take immediate action.
Cassia, stay inside the bus. You know that's not safe.
At the rear of the bus, we find a student kneeling down to tie his shoe. Let's look at this from the bus driver's point of view. The mirrors seem to pick up something at the rear of the bus, but it is not clear what it is. What action should the driver take? In this instance, the driver should secure the bus and walk to the rear of the bus to see what she couldn't identify in the mirrors.
Edgar, you need not be behind the bus. It's not safe and I can't see you.
Remember, mirrors are a valuable tool, but if something looks questionable in your mirrors, take the time to take a closer look. Do not take anything for granted and always stay focused.
Edgar.
As we wrap around to the other side of the bus, we run into a student leaning out of the window to receive a note from a passing friend. Obviously, neither of these students are in a safe place. The girl that is outside of the bus is standing in the most dangerous zone, right next to the rear tires. Although it is a quick handoff, it is nevertheless a dangerous situation and one that should be addressed by the school bus driver. In this case, the driver relies on her mirrors once again. She notices a student dangerously close to the side of the bus and identifies her through the right convex mirror. She also identifies another student in the right flat mirror. Because the driver stayed focused and paid close attention to what was going on in her mirrors, she was able to identify and catch the exchange between the two students.
Give this to Ricky. Okay.
Keep in mind that the student passing the note does not ride the bus. But since the bus driver sees her engaging in unsafe behavior around her bus, it is her responsibility to let the student know that what she is doing is unacceptable.
Kanisha, I seen you passing that note through the window. Please don't do that. It's not safe and you're in the danger zone. You can get hurt really bad.
Okay.
Thank you.
As we have demonstrated throughout this video, there are numerous unsafe actions that students engage in around the school bus. That means that you, the bus driver, must utilize every safety tool provided by the bus. In addition, realize that your training can help you be prepared to meet events like this when they arise. Keep in mind, distractions on the bus may cause you to skip a very important step when preparing to leave or enter a loading zone. So maintain order and also tell the students on the bus to use quiet voices. Remember, the bus driver must not be distracted. The driver needs full concentration, particularly when entering busy and congested loading zones. Here are several final reminders. Don't forget to adjust your mirrors. Rely on your mirrors to pick up problem objects. Use the rock and roll method to get the best possible view around blind spots. Secure the bus and check on any object if you are not sure what it is. Stay focused. Don't become complacent. And remember, safety is the top priority when transporting students.